not women.
Well, and I didn't. What?
Not women.
Oh, are we going?
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No. Okay.
Yeah, I'm already in riff mode. I'm riff mode squad.
Well, you are the riff king.
I try.
You know what I mean? But like
Brad Marchand is the rat king. You've said it for years, but I am the riff king. Brad Marchand.
Brad Marchand?
Yeah, you know him.
No.
He's the rat king. You always said it.
I mean, that's a great name. I don't know who that is.
Is that a great name? He does play for our rival, Andy.
Oh, that Brad Marchand.
Sorry, he thought I was talking about. Well, this is the music podcast.
These early pods,
Yeah.
you gotta, dude. I gotta be honest. I've been doing that. Shout out, Into Cloud, the recent sponsor of panties. Mm-hmm. I feel like there's been a little bit of because I'm also not a weedman, and it's not weed. For the sake of our ad dollars, it's not, because it isn't. It's like Delta 9 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I did feel like, well,
it's basically bath salts. It's totally. Wait, that's not.
It's uncut crystal. No, it's actually like, as a dude who doesn't like do much outside of like drink a couple light beers and then a couple more light beers. What? And then a few more light beers. No, but as a dude who doesn't do much outside of like slamming beers and ripping cigs,
what?
Well, no, it's a weird thing I started to think about with like different sort of hemp use or drug use or whatever. Because they talk about that with like some people think, and I think there's something to it, where when you get something like LSD or mushrooms, it's like it's because a lot of people think like, oh, you're just poisoning your brain, so that's why you feel all goofy. And then another group of people think like,
you're unlocking your brain, man.
You're unlocking your brain, and you're helping sort of like in normal existence. You have like these filters up, and then when you do some LSD or you do some mushrooms or whatever, it takes down,
lowers the veil.
It takes down filters of perception, so you can see other dimensional things existing and stuff. And I don't know where I was going with that, but
right?
No, that goes back with using the Delta 9 stuff. I was wondering if because I did feel groggy the next day, but that's going to happen when you do stuff like that and you don't normally smoke anything ever.
That happens with melatonin. With
100%, yeah.
If I don't get a full 8 hours.
No, and then also when I take melanin too, I can't stop saying the N-word.
Those are unrelated.
What?
I didn't want to tell you this on air, but
okay.
Those are unrelated.
I do take it mainly in my car and traffic.
You do say it without the melanin too. Yeah, a lot.
But to be fair, down here
on the phone, you text it constantly.
To be fair, down here in Texas, I'm still only yelling it at Mexicans.
You can't get your advanced ID unless you say it.
Yeah. You'll get an ID, but you won't get a real ID. But no, it makes you it makes me wonder if like I felt more, even like I did it twice and I haven't done any of it in like a day or two. And I've felt more mellow in general, but I'm also wondering if it's like the fact that you're almost hit with, it's like when you do it, you're provided a different level of comprehension and circumstances, and then once you're like introduced to that, you're almost like, oh, could I just be like that?
Right. Yeah, it's kind of like, and like that's why I say like a lot of times if I don't do drugs, which I don't, but whenever I do,
you do medicine.
Yeah, when I do my medicines,
you freebase medicine.
It's real. It really is. It's like how people talk about what's like I don't even know like what if I'm gonna make the right reference. Valium, I think maybe, or like Prozac, stuff like that. That would like they go. It just kind of smooths out the edges. Kind of makes me.
Yeah.
My mom always jokingly called. She always got off-brand. She still does. What am I saying? But she's still alive and very medicated. But like she takes her little happy pill is what she called them.
Sorry, Stanley whipped his tail.
I'm telling you, he was doing it earlier.
It was like it was a reaction thing. The way he whipped his tail out, he's like, "Don't fucking check the timer."
Yeah.
You just started, idiot.
Bro, Dad's riffing. Shut up.
Yo, listen, Andy. Listen.
He's like, don't pay attention to this. Look up at him. No, there's like essentially like the same idea of like I don't like. It just kind of it has that same effect of basically if it's not like it kind of stays in your system also.
Yeah.
So like it does kind of influence you a little bit, but also like after a while of like when was the last time I actually like took my medicine?
Yeah.
And then I go like because just of whatever it may be, it's like it helps. If I have like a little bit of lack of sleep, it helps me to relax at the end of the day. It helps me like it just literally just kind of smooths it out.
I also think what happens too is like you don't. I think I run into this problem a lot. Is you don't accept like, and it's like a thing. It's like a broader problem in life. It's this thing where you're not accepting the new person you've shifted into.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like I think it's the reason I have like an eating problem where I've like so closely associated those very fun times when I was a little kid.
Yeah.
And then people will be like, yo, food just like the fast food or whatever just isn't hitting the same. It's like, or have you become an adult with a broader palate and you're currently on your 9,000th McDouble?
Yeah.
It's just not, and it is a thing too of like, because I think that is a decent thing that what like hemp products and drugs in general can do for you in a positive way, where they're just like, hey, here's another option. It's almost like, I'm real good at food analogies. It's almost like if all you had was Taco Bell and then you were presented like an authentic Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
And then you're like, no, these are just other options of existence.
And like you said, like there's a thing with marijuana and shit like that where basically I wanna like it does help to just bowl. I call it my breakfast bowl. Do a morning time breakfast bowl, wake and bake, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
But really, it's like it's not as soon as I get up. It's like, all right, I did my kitty cat.
Take
chores,
a shit first.
Take a shit. Start the coffee because otherwise that's going to be a long process. But like any of that stuff, where to like whatever I'm getting into, like before I get into the day.
Yeah.
Is usually that. Like, but it's not like it wouldn't necessarily. That's why I don't like the vape pen and stuff like that. Some of those things, even for like cigarettes or something like that, because I feel like you do more of that than ever you would before. You know what I mean? Like,
dude, and I told you before, like when I started CrossFit, like I never become like, as I have cigarettes on the table right here. But no, I don't. Only for a short amount of time when I first started smoking cigarettes did I ever like become a pack a day guy. And even when I did, it was like very rarely. But I've still always just, it's my problem is I like drinking beers and ripping butts too fucking much. It's that thing. It's like it's hard to break a habit if you don't actually want to break it. And I think overtly or subconsciously, I don't want to break it whatsoever.
Yeah.
And so when I started doing CrossFit, I started trying to be more mindful of like, well, I don't want to just be at CrossFit fucking exerting all this energy and holding myself back. So I switched from like ripping cigs to trying the vape out. And dude, I noticed going into the gym, like my ability to just like breathe and have stamina.
Yeah.
It was like cut by a third when I was on the vape versus like I remember like, dude, and there'd be days I'd go into CrossFit because like that was my thing. It was like it was expensive. I'm going at least 4 to 5 times a week. I'm not missing a day. So there would be nights where there'd be mornings where I'd be like, yo, it doesn't matter if you got fucking hammered and fucking chain smoked a half a pack with Lemaire. We're going to CrossFit, and those days would be substantially easier than the days I was just casually ripping a vape at work.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know. The studies can come out, but from firsthand experience, I'm like, I think anything is okay in moderation. There's just certain things where like the nature of the vape, I was like, you'll just be fucking hitting it, driving a car. You'll just be watching TV, hitting the vape. It's like, I realize the vapes are probably not good for me because of like the ADHD brain I have. I was joking with someone, they weren't getting it, and you can relate on this. I go, brother, there's nothing better in this world than a simple repetitive task and a good podcast. And like that sort of thing of like the repetitive nature of the vape. Oh, dude, and then I tried making this a joke the other night, but just the whole, when having that first experience of fucking, I have my vape, I'm going to leave, I do the phone wallet keys check, and then I go to vape, and then the immediate crackhead nature I get looking for my vape, being like, oh, I forgot it, and then when I finally find it and I hit it, and I go, oh, you just bought yourself a adult binky. Yeah. That's what you just got, a binky. And I'm like, so I like the vapes, but I think that's one I'm gonna get in the way of.
Yeah, I think well, like even like you say moderation, and I think that's another thing is like somebody like you who is not necessarily like chemically, you don't need a, to me, like any of the drugs I do are equal to coffee. Coffee is the worst drug that I do. That's a thing that if I don't do that, I have the physical reaction. Yeah. And I actually get a headache. I fucking feel sick to my stomach if by like 2 o'clock or let's say, well, actually depending on my sleep schedule.
Have you tried that in a while? The like, let's see how long I could go without coffee?
Because if I do that, it ruins the day. Even if I do coffee after that, my headache is still there. It's all like this bullshit. And I'm pretty down to like, I'm not drinking as much as I was, for sure. Yeah. But it's also like,
you always got to ratchet it back at some, because I think you and me are the same, where we like like, I'm not a hard drug user. Like, I did Coke once, and I go like, oh, just the Coke's fun, but the everything surrounding it is not fun. And I just go, I'll just drink too much coffee and have an energy drink sometimes. I don't need to be a cokehead.
But it's like something like weed for you is like you can just do like a gummy or two or hit half a fake J or something like that. Yeah. And like it can stay in your system like that. I need it more like coffee. Yeah. I do. Like, I also, it does so happen to be the inebriant I prefer as well. So, like, I do it medically, but also socially. Like, it's not like I'm at, like, I'll have a bowl or something like that, but, like, it won't be, like, gotta have, like, I have to have it. It's just a better day if I do, just like mood wise, dude. But it's even like the gummies or something like that. I got those THC whatever A or one of those, like those packs or like 3 of those. Yeah, and they're 8 milligrams, which is a weird thing, but 3 of those is like, that's fine. And then that's it. Then I won't be like, I can do that with weed the same way I can do with coffee, where like as long as I get one serving in the day by a certain time, it's okay. My day is just fine.
Well, this is why I was saying too about like the thing that keeps me away from like actual drugs is, and maybe this is just me afraid to travel to other realms, but like it's one of my biggest annoyances with people when they get fucked up. There's a lot of people who get fucked up and you're like, oh, there's a new, and I'm not even trying to say it's like an outrageous Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde thing, but there's a lot of people who get fucked up and you're like, oh, this is a slightly different person. And I've noticed like that when I get way too high on regular weed, I feel that in myself, where it's like there's a shift to like I'm in a different place. I know it's like I'm sure there's a bunch of people that smoke weed every day that are like rolling their eyes at me, but no, I do. That's one of the big things I always say. Like the reason, because I did Molly a bunch in high school. I've done mushrooms once. I've smoked a bunch of weed in my life. And a lot of those drugs, Molly wasn't as intense, because Molly, you just start noticing you feel better and you don't care about anything else. But all those other drugs, it was like, I'm definitely going to do mushrooms again for like maintenance purposes. But a lot of those other drugs, you feel like I lose track of time because I feel like I'm in a different realm almost. And the thing I really liked with the Delta 8, Delta 9 or whatever it was that they sent us is I was like, because like I like drinking because drinking almost feels like the equivalent of like you put on a funny outfit.
Yeah.
And that's like, you have this like, oh, we're gonna be a little bit, I'm gonna be Andy, but I'm gonna be like almost like it's like I'm my wrestling persona.
Yeah.
But then eventually when you drink too much, you're almost like, the reason you're wobbling is you're like, I put too many outfits on. I can't stand. And that's what Delta 9 felt like because I smoked 2/3 of the pre-rolls that was there.
Yeah.
And it felt like I went from no outfit to just, I had like 19 parkas on. Dude, I'm literally you guys who smoke weed all the time will get a treat out of this. I smoked 2/3 of a pre-roll. I put on You Don't Mess with the Zohan because I didn't realize this as a kid. I heard that was actually heavily addressed the Israel-Palestine conflict throughout the whole movie. So I was like, let me check this out. Dude, I'm watching the movie. It's on normal volume. I'm this far from it. And I'm just like, I can't hear anything. So I just went, I'll just look at the Zohan and go to bed.
Yeah,
It's a good movie
I'll watch it.
It's a great movie to look at. I got to tell you. Check out.
You had like jingle keys, essentially. You turned into jingle keys.
It actually, because dude, he's trying to make everyone silky smooth. Everyone's got fun hair, and
just
he's
wants
like,
to do people's hairs.
it's so visually compelling. I go, yeah, You Don't Mess with the Zohan is a great movie to just look at, not consume.
Great political think piece.
Yeah.
I think there's a thing with in general, like the harder drugs. I kind of, at first when I was younger, I was definitely scared of the harder drugs. Like I didn't want to, except for crack. I really wanted to smoke crack.
Really?
I don't know why. I was leftover crack, I think, essentially. Like it was the perfect
You
time.
wanted to find out why they left it over.
Like,
why would you leave it?
Yeah, I'm just like, that feels like an oxymoron, like jumbo shrimp. But like, there's a lot of stuff like I don't necessarily. I never had like the urge to do heroin. Pills I could see getting addicted to, but even still, like, because I was so nervous of it, like even if I had like a surgery or something like that, I wouldn't usually take that. I would just take like extra strength Tylenol and just kind of like, because it's like one of those things of like, it's supposed to hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like if it's unmanageable, I can understand that. That's when I would take those, like any of those drugs when they're
what's
like
supposed to hurt?
Like when you get surgery.
Oh yeah.
Like something like that. Like it's not supposed to feel awesome.
Dude,
if you're in uncontrollable pain,
yeah,
I understand taking those, but I never was in that, so I was just taking
Dude,
Tylenol.
You know why too? I luckily, when it came to like most hard drugs I've ever tried, I luckily was like either indifferent or didn't like it. So thankfully that was my response. But dude, it's also I get really irritated with like the little side effects. Because alcohol, obviously, if you get too drunk, you have to be hungover for a day. But alcohol is really like, you can drink a bunch, and if you're done being drunk, you can stop drinking, and you'll be sober enough in most any time you're drinking, unless you've had 20 shots and you're on Mars. Sorry, go ahead. If you just wait an hour or two, you'll be close to normal.
I was gonna say, like, there's a weird thing with I feel like I've figured out drinking the best. Mm-hmm. And it's the easiest fucking math equation, but it also does include weed. Maybe for Delta 9 or something like that. Yeah. But if you have a vape pen, that's the best, because then also you can be at least discreet enough to. People are very comfortable. This is going back to your.
Didn't we talk about
your Creek cigarette situation? But they're very comfortable with somebody coming over, just going like, "Hey, can I hit that weed vape?"
We've talked about this before. There's a lot of yeah. There's a
expensive and incredibly illegal.
There's a weird There's like a weird culture now. I've bummed too many cigarettes to ever not offer someone a cigarette.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, like, I notice it more with weed, because it's not like you can, if you're a regular pot smoker, it's not like it's not making you poor, but it's a sizable amount of your budget every week. Mm-hmm. And then to just be constantly like, hey, can I have some of that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like if you were at a party and you brought a 30 rack of Bud Lights and then just and you're like, okay, some people can have this.
It's like if
I can't give everyone a fucking beer or else I spent fucking $20 on this and I'm going to have 2 beers.
If somebody offers me a pen too, it's I think an incredibly poor taste to take a blinker, which is essentially just sucking the fucking vape juice
till the vape. Yeah, because doesn't it start blinking where it's like the vape will be like, stop?
Yeah, that's a dose.
You've done enough.
Yeah, like that's a thing of
that's such a funny term, a blinker.
But it's also like it's really interesting because it's like it's just like a thing where I wouldn't do that. Like I never needed those harder drugs.
Yeah.
But if you have a vape pen or something like that, you go to a party. To me, it works perfectly at hockey games. It's the greatest thing at any sporting event, especially if you have a vape that you can just run into the bathroom allegedly and maybe hit it there.
Yeah.
If that's something you would do, I would never. But if you get in with the vape pen, you rip it 4 blinkers if you can, two or 3 blinkers before
at the beginning of the hockey
before you
game.
go in, like because you're gonna have to walk through parking, you're gonna have to stand in ticketing.
Oh, in the car.
Yeah, something like that, just to like.
You bring it in then?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
But just to get it going.
I die without it.
Yeah. But that's the thing of like that's also like you're in big crowds. It's like security. It's all this other stuff. It's just like. It's better just to kind of be aloof in that because it's really all you got to do is empty your pockets. And they don't. I usually hold my pen also, or like I put it in the thing, and they don't give a shit. And then you go in. They're looking for weapons.
Yeah.
So like you go in, then each period,
like, brother, this ain't a weapon. This is a paintbrush.
You get one of these.
And they're like, keep moving it.
Well, they have those things now where they have a thing you can hide it in a key fob. You know what I mean? Like you're like, come on, like just. Yeah. It's a vape, faggot.
Yeah.
Sorry. I couldn't stop it.
I'll leave it in. Okay. Brother, you should see the Big Red in the morning streams. It's not a problem. I just occasionally.
It's a vape. Like, shut up. You know? Like
what?
It's a vape. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's no better. I use that correctly, I feel like, but
it's fine, dude.
And then
you gotta let it rip occasionally, because I ask you this. I go, I'll stop when you give me a better word.
Yeah, like what else do you call somebody that goes? You're not allowed to have. Shut the fuck up. Come on.
Was that Louis joke where he's like, they don't even have to say anything. It's just that energy of like,
yeah,
actually,
yeah. So, but that you take, as much as you need to get to where you're like. Coughing so much your eyes water a little. It's just this is my recommendation. This is the smooth sailing. Then you get into the game, and you get right before the first period, you get one of those big motherfuckers, whatever your beer choice, light beer. I prefer a Labatt. They have usually Labatt or a Molson, a Canadian beer at a hockey game.
Oh wait, are they just giving you 24 ounces? Because I was.
You know those big koozies I have? Like okay. That's my favorite.
Because my mindset was, brother, I love a small chain sports bar. Yeah. Because and also I'll give props to Buffalo Wild Wings. They're a big chain. They do this too. But the place where you go, can I get a Coors Light? Do you want a regular mug or you want a big one?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you get to go like,
well,
it's cheaper. I'm probably going to have 2.
It's like at the movies, yeah.
And then you get the same amount of big ones you would for small. And you just have a great fucking... Dude, and when they come out with the fucking big glass of beer... Yeah. This is why it's like, I don't know, man.
Brother.
I got to talk to some of the straight edge people because it's like...
They have
two realms of existence. Living free and clear and with no static or anything, or being a complete fucking junkie. I go, or you can have a few to make the day more fun.
Smooth out the edges.
Here's my thing. People really underappreciate how hard life is. And, like, we talk about it all the time, but then whenever people bring up, like, people, there's something about, and it's more white America than anything, but there's something about the American mind that just they can't do anything until they've properly whipped themselves over it.
This is like,
it's what our I'm sure your wife does it. Mine does it all the time.
She whips my ass all the time.
She can't. Yeah, I go harder, bitch.
Yeah.
I haven't come yet.
Say, I thought you were getting started, but it feels like we ain't getting started for another half an hour. Now whip me.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought I was trying to bust you, weak-wristed bitch.
Yeah.
No, it's like I've made a rule in my house now. I go, if you're gonna do a 20-minute preamble about how you're such a bad lady and a bad person, I go, I'm not getting you wine. It's can you get me some wine? I'm not dealing with this whole like, oh my God, I really shouldn't, but I go, but there's this, and I'm not just trying to come at my wife. I'm trying to come more.
Hey.
But no, there is this weird thing in American culture where we have to just punish ourselves before we go do anything fun. I think it's the guilt that like that was always the funniest part of the like we are the 99%, and it's like, you know, people are mad at the 1% where it's like they are fucking shit up, don't get me wrong, but it's like, let's take your thing to logic. You know, in America, if you're a poor person in America, you're in the 1% of the world. So it's like, I think there's this internalized realization that compared to the rest of the world, Americans just by existing, like if you're just an American making fucking $50K a year, barely paying your bills, you're still living a substantially better life than the average person in like, you know, any of the countries we destabilized for Israel, or anywhere, like in a lot of places in Africa, we just live, and there's like this internalized shame for having this privilege, and it's like, I don't. That's
the thing. I think that's the thing with like straight edge people. They have this.
Dude,
like,
her ears must have been ringing. I just got a text from my wife. I'm scared now.
Edge, you know, they call them straight edge, and they're just but they're just sober. Oh, look at that.
That's a cute fucking cat.
Send them this one. Send her this.
I'll send her Stanley.
But there's like they have this fucking like, I'm straight edge and don't fucking do this, and I'm not like one of you fucked up fucking losers out there. Like they're just trying to neg people.
Yeah.
And like they do all this thing, but really what it is you're just kind of a pussy. Like it's a thing where like if you obviously have had a privileged life that you're not acknowledging, because it's one of those things of like, oh, my dad was a drunk and he was such a dickhead. And it's like, okay, then that's not the most privileged life. But look, if that's the worst thing that happened to you,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Like my dad killed himself when I was 8.
Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? Like, and like it had nothing to do with drugs. You know what I mean? It's a thing where you can have those things of like, you need to respect other people's bullshit.
Yeah, he was like, how can an 8-year-old?
He's like, I'm out of Bud Light.
How can an 8-year-old be this fat? I've let you down, Patrick.
Brother, I told you I should have cleaned my room. It's my fault. You know, he called my bluff.
It's so funny. You're talking to Jordan Peterson. Just saying, Pat, if you would have cleaned your room, your gay dad would have killed himself.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. He's also Canadian too, so he would have.
I think your dad stared too far to the abyss, a very gay abyss.
There's a weird thing with like that privilege of like having the thing of like, well, I don't do that, and I don't like. Okay, then life isn't too fucking hard for you. Awesome, but like for certain people, it's like they don't understand the hit a vape pen, rip blinkers before the game, and one like 20 ounce to 18 to 20 ounce beer, whatever they have, like whatever tall boy. That's all you need. And like that's it. You get them at the beginning of the period. You're finished. Usually the third one you're going to be finished by the beginning of the third period because you're buzzing by then.
Yeah.
But by the time you're walking back to the car, your buzz is subsiding. You still got like that kind of like, especially if it's a win, you got that fucking that adds to your high. It's just about it's layering a high to where it's like it's just and really what it is I'm not trying to get fucked up. I'm not trying to get like wasted or obliterated. I'm a guy, because that's the thing, is I don't like to party. I don't like partying. I like going to parties.
I think you and me are similar.
I don't party.
We like a chill vibe.
Right. So like my thing is, what I am layering is the world's perfect buzz. If you get ripped on weed before, then you just cruise on beers. Maybe have a handful of beers.
Dude, you know,
and it's just the perfect night because you got the fun hang buzz going. You got that natural high of like socializing, being a human. you took out the bullshit of like worrying about your bills and worrying about like all the other shit. So you're present and you're with your friends, and then you got the little bit of buzz from a couple of light beers. Or some Lone Stars, some Lone Star Red Boys. I love those guys.
Brother. There's nothing better in life than
Lone Star Red flavor, please.
Bro, there's nothing better in life than having a slow drawl of beer shot all night, dude.
Yeah.
It's the best.
It's just a thing where you just catch a buzz, and that's the thing is the thing that always bothered me about straight edge people was their thing is you pussies are just out there getting fucking hammered and you're losers and it's like always like making fun of or negating someone else.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be as against straight edge people if they weren't so militantly cocksuckers.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they weren't such devoted dickheads when it comes to like the subject of fucking drinking a beer and fucking and having a great time in a pit. You know what I mean? Not being a problem.
Yeah.
I'm saying like literally, we're not talking about
Well, that's
those
like
people.
also-
Everybody, by the way, people that drink hate those people too. We don't like the people that are fucking problem drunks.
Well, I think a lot of people. I was thinking about this the other day too, because like two of the big things I hear in this world, that'll like chill you out and put you on a higher plane, is jujitsu and mushrooms. And I've met a lot of people who do that, and I go, I mean, the numbers are the same as any other group of people.
Yeah.
And it's the same. It's like that classic Joe Rogan bit where he's like, weed will make you lazy. And he's like, no. He's like, if you eat cheeseburgers sober, weed's going to make you eat more cheeseburgers. But if you're like locked in sober, weed's just going to make you more locked in and shit like that. And it's like, I think people are really looking for... That's another like American mindset too, where it's like if I just do this one thing, then everything will be better. And it's really like, no, I think, and this kind of goes back to the Buddhism shit we were talking about on No More Heroes, where it's like I think it's really just becoming like one with yourself and at peace with who you are.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just kind of like what would make your day that day more enjoyable. It's like I want to try to be a person that if I didn't have anything, I could be like content and satisfied. But if we're going out, I mean, I'm content and satisfied, but I could also go for a Bud Light. You know, it's
right.
like
Yeah.
I think it's way more. It's if you're looking for a little superficial thing and that's gonna be your quick fix, it's like, nah, you gotta. It's like putting a spoiler on a car, being like, that's what's gonna make it go fast, and it's like you don't have an engine. You know what I mean? You gotta fix the engine. But we're yapping. I'll put a timestamp so you can skip to the meat. So you've skipped ahead. You're at the fucking meat.
Yeah.
And some dudes who may have done a little too many drugs.
Brother.
Because that is the thing. Like, straight edge people need to chill out. But there are people who, I've always said it, if you've ever had the pleasure of talking to Ryan Shaner about his DUI stories, you know what I mean? That's a guy who would benefit from being straight edge. He always told me, he goes, I don't drink because one beer, it's not one beer, it's 15 beers. Yeah. And then you get 2 DUIs in a month and shit. But I think, so today we're talking about Pet Sounds and Revolver. Yeah. Which, the more I learned about Pet Sounds, the more I was like, maybe we should have did Rubber Soul. That was like, because I was reading that Pet Sounds was heavily inspired by Rubber Soul by the Beatles. It's almost akin to the whole Slayer Metallica conversation we had a while ago, where there was a little bit of a conflict, but not conflict, but a little bit of a friendly competition and inspiration. But speaking of the whole drugs thing, when I got into these albums, I was like, I appreciate the contribution to music, because there's a million artists who are inspired by these artists, and I think you're similar to me, where it's like, you're just like, I'm glad you guys are having fun.
Yeah.
I don't get it. But then the more I read into it, and you go like, oh yeah, this is the 60s. Yeah. And LSD is brand new and all the rage. They didn't find out any negative side effects yet, so LSD's the greatest thing ever and shit. And when I realized that, I go, it's all starting to make a little more sense.
Yeah.
So where do you want to start with this, Patrick?
I think overall Pet Sounds was kind of like a pile of shit. Like, and I put that lightly because I understand the time frame. You know what I mean? Like it's a.
Well,
but the fact that this was so influential, and this is my same argument with. Sorry to get. I didn't mean to give you the hook 'em horns. There we go. We can dock. Let's dock it up. But if this was, what was the last one that we were talking? Green Day.
I want to start pointing it. I can't do it with this hand because of my pinky.
Yeah.
Listen here, bud.
Look here, pal. Look right. I'm gonna look at you right in the ass.
Dude, if you hit him
look
with
me in the ass, you look me in the ass, you look me in the ass.
I do this, and I assert. This is how I assert alpha dominance. And also, if I really mean it, pow. That's when you're the no. That's when you're Polly Walnuts.
That's my love gun.
Listen here, bro.
Get it? See that? That's really smart. That's a love. I love you, and it's my love gun.
I can't with my pinky.
Well, do it with your pinky.
My pinky, bro.
You don't love me, bro. You don't fucking love me, bro.
Not with my left
hand.
What? Not with my left. Okay. Love.
Show me with your love gun in the head.
So when you call it a big stinkeroo pile of dog shit or whatever you said, is that
the amount of work, the amount of time, the lack of Beach Boys featured on the album?
Yeah.
The and just the fact of like how much. By the way, this album made me like the Beatles. That's saying something.
That's crazy.
That's where I go. I get it. I can't. The Beatles are undeniable, but if you're really looking at it, like they have some pretty good. I don't love their B-sides. I don't love the non-hits.
Dude, this is so funny. I don't mean to cut you off. This made me like the Beatles less and like the Beach Boys more. Not to say I am in love with this album, but when I was getting it, I was loving the Beach Boys more, but I still want you to rip.
But no, that's the same idea where like I don't have this like I still don't think the Beatles are amazing. I've always said they're undeniable. I still don't like them, but it makes me like that.
Wait, what do you mean when you say undeniable?
Like the amount of hits that they've put out,
and the cultural impact.
The cultural impact.
Yeah.
Like all that shit of like.
Okay.
But kind of, if you look at it that way, even Maroon 5 could potentially be the next Beatles. So be careful what you're fucking like. That's what I'm saying is like it's generational, and they were that generation's Maroon 5. They nailed it. They have so many hits. People fucking love them. They're so attracted to them. They don't have the same appeal because maybe Maroon 5 fans know everybody's name. I think we've talked about this before too, but I know the main guy Adam or whatever.
Oh yeah,
I don't know the bass player from Maroon 5.
And also too, Maroon 5 is a tried and true pop band. Where like I was watching videos of that, you know that dude Benny Blanco, who looks like a fucking.
I hate that guy.
He looks like the leader of the Rat King, and for some reason Selena Gomez wants to suck his cock.
Yeah.
But I see him. But you see him talking about things like what you got. Like when it comes to pop music, like if you want to just completely lose any interest in it, like just watch these producers talk about making the songs, and you're like, oh. These artists don't fucking do shit. I mean, They do shit. They perform it really well. But you're just like, wait, so like everything they do is just written for them?
This is just like, to me.
Oh, I was going to say too, I do think though the difference with Maroon 5 is you got to give it to the Beatles. They actually got it. Now, don't get me wrong. They had the machine behind them. But they also... Like, it's like how, you know, like now they'll talk about how, like, Drake actually surpassed the Beatles in #1 songs. And I go, yeah, in the streaming era.
Yeah.
Because too, like, you know.
They're all asterisks.
If you count an album sale, if we're just counting album sales, that doesn't count for a guy who bought it and listened to it once and a guy who bought it and listened to it every day of his life. Streams are just counting how many fucking I don't, because it's like,
yeah.
And then on top of that, I didn't realize this till like Maroon 5, because I was actually every so often I like pop back in. I go, what the fuck's pop music doing? And sometimes it's going really well, and sometimes it's not going great. And I got to be honest, Maroon 5 was always like sort of like pop bullshit, but they always seemed to have like oh, at least they're like unique pop bullshit. And then I heard some shit lately, and it was just like, oh, this could literally be anyone.
It's like Katy Perry shit.
And then you start to realize, well, you also start to realize with now that there's all the algorithms and all the Spotify playlist and blah, blah, blah. Because a big thing I've noticed with music and entertainment and shit now, well, I guess it always happened this way, but like like whenever I see a new rapper pop up, it won't be, they're half the time they're not good, but you're like, they're everywhere. They must be doing something right. And you're like, no, you can very inorganically, if you have enough money at a record label, put something fucking everywhere, and it really fucks with your perception. But
there's certain things though, like no matter what, like everybody's always like, who's going to be the next Jordan? Who's going to be the next Wayne Gretzky? Who's going to be the next whoever? I mean, no, what baseball? I guess what's his face? Derek Jeter. Somebody like that. Like who's going to be that generational? So that's why I can't.
Who's the guy now? Shohei Ohtani.
Like he's like
isn't he the highest paid athlete ever?
I think so, yeah. And he's also like he's considered the greatest baseball player because also of his the fact that I think he can bat both right and left-handed. That might not be right.
Have you ever heard about?
But he's also a pitcher, and that's unlikely.
Paul, have you also heard the Japanese method of fucking practicing?
Yeah,
it's psychotic.
They had kill yourself if you don't.
What?
You have to kill yourself if you don't, right?
Brother, no, it's like honorable to fucking die while you're playing. Not literally, but like, no, like they had to implement, I was watching a video on it. They had to implement rules to be like, you guys are practicing too much. You're gonna hurt yourself. So you know what they did? They snuck out in the middle of the night to practice. They're psychotic over there.
They're like, it's so like, that's why I'm saying like the Beatles are an undeniable, like they are one of the greatest because of that. It is undeniable. Yeah. I don't like them, but that's the thing. Revolver, I didn't hate this album. I liked that. I liked it, and the fact that it is the same time. And the album before that, 1965, was Rubber Soul. That is what inspired allegedly Pet Sounds, which is funny because
it was directly. I was watching a bunch of stuff. Brian Wilson, he said like what he was doing on Pet Sounds was a direct reaction to hearing Rubber Soul and there was a whole thing. That's
literally what I just said.
What?
That's literally what I just said.
You said the word allegedly.
No, I said beforehand. The album that came out before this was Rubber Soul, 1965, inspired the album.
Yeah, I think you said allegedly.
But everybody's alleging that the album Pet Sounds was something that the Beatles took they took Pet Sounds to make Sgt. Pepper's.
Yeah.
Like, but that's the thing is like,
I was just saying none of that's allegedly.
Yeah. That they've said that they were directly influenced, but also the Beatles did say that Pet Sounds was Animal Sounds. Pet Sounds was I think he said it's a must, like John Lennon bought copies of it for his kids.
Yeah.
The great thing about the Beach Boys and the Beatles is that both inspired each other and didn't copy each other. Rubber Soul inspired Brian Wilson to write Pet Sounds, and Pet Sounds inspired the Beatles to produce Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band. But initially promoted, where is it? Okay, yeah. John Lennon was deeply impressed by the Beach Boys' Pet Sounds. He called Brian Wilson to express his admiration for the album. I'm sure that conversation went great.
That's a good place to take a quick pause because that, for as much as in the modern time where you and me or whatever about this album, it does deserve props because apparently when it came out, what it was doing, people were like, yo, what the fuck? And then you mix that in with the fact that I didn't realize this. Before the 60s, the full album thing wasn't really a thing. And you'd put out a bunch of singles and then you'd put in a bunch of filler stuff to go in with that. This was
that's what I felt like this was.
Yeah, but this actually marked a new era of like, oh no, every song on this album has a purpose from beginning to end. So they did sort of revolutionize things. Now, I will say this made me realize I'm not a fan of an album that is not written to necessarily play live, because then that's when you start digging deep into the like self-indulgent overthinking bullshit.
This is the thing that I'm talking about, and this is part of what I think was the mistake.
Yeah.
Of what, like, because I feel like there's people assume that something that confuses them is brilliant.
That's a great way to put it.
But just because you can't do something doesn't make it special.
Yeah.
So like the fact that Brian Wilson basically like there's whole like and there's tracks on this that are just session musicians.
Well, that was the other.
So it's
part.
just like what you're not even the fucking Beach Boys, you dickheads.
Well, dude, well, that was the thing. He was like dealing with mental health or whatever. So the Beach Boys were like on tour in Japan. And then they came back and he was like, I wrote an album.
Yeah.
And then they basically, the only thing that the other Beach Boys really did on that album was they jumped in and they did their annoying harmonies.
Oh my God. And that's what I'm saying. By the end of this album is like, that's the only thing that was Beach Boys. This album is a side project album. If you just call
Brian
it
Wilson album.
Brian Wilson and the fucking everybody else in the fucking world that plays an instrument.
Yeah.
But like they are like when you say every song has a purpose, please explain to me what the purpose is, because there's like a whole instrumental albums. He didn't even play anything on them.
Yeah.
So what?
Yeah.
You were a composer. Okay, that's really cool. But also you just had a bunch of skilled musicians do a bunch of shit a bunch of times, and you went,
it's
perfect.
It's similar to why the Black. I remember telling you about the Black Parade. Why over time I started giving less of a shit. It's because the more I listened to it, and the more I started thinking about it, and I go, oh yeah, the guys you paid money to wrote a great album for you,
yeah.
And that's a similar. It's like that's a similar vibe I have with this, and I go, yeah, man. Those studio musicians who are really talented wrote a great album.
Yeah, it's drugged up, fucking mentally ill art. Like
Dude.
It's just basically just like it's orchestral music with, like you said, those fucking annoying ass.
Dude, I gotta be honest.
It's like a fucking transition. Every song is just a transition to, and then you have like an actual thought out song,
Yeah.
like. What was the fucking... God damn it. God Only Knows is one of them. And then...
the first one.
The first one. Also, way to fucking waste everybody's time.
Oh, because that song...
You just go, wow, that's amazing. And then the next song, you're like... Okay,
well,
right.
can I say this too? Because I thought of this every time I listened to the first song. I got to be perfectly honest. And I understand how it was revolutionary at the time. But there is part of me sometimes where I just go... Like I've heard a million people over-explain the Wall of Sound, and I get it. But like a lot of times, what you're trying to say it does sort of gets lost in the sauce and shit. It's a little overrated from time to time when people talk about it. I will say, and what's the first song called again?
Wouldn't it be nice?
I will say. So usually I roll my eyes about the Wall of Sound thing. When the second verse of Wouldn't It Be Nice kicks in, I go, that's why you do the Wall of Sound. Because it's similar to what we joked, like, why does Bad Religion have 3 guitarists? But I will say on some of their songs, it's much more than just a riff. It's the general tonality of the moment that makes a Bad Religion song feel good. So that, like, there is that moment on the second verse of Wouldn't It Be Nice where everyone's going at once, and it does feel fucking magnificent. When
they get it right,
it's beautiful.
It's perfect. And
yeah.
But they only get it right like 3 times, in my opinion, on this album. And I feel like it's 13 songs, 37 seconds or 37 minutes long. Most tracks are like 2.5 minutes, and it's just kind of like, but in my honest opinion, I think Wouldn't It Be Nice is a good one. A Sloop John B is good.
That was pretty good.
But as far as like the fact that how many people God Only Knows, I'm pretty sure that's it.
There was one later in that.
I just wasn't made for these times. Shut up, you drug up fuck. Like, what the fuck is that shit? To me, that was like...
I'm waiting for the day I liked.
I said, now we get a glimpse into why this album was made. The song explains it all. I just wasn't made for these times. Maybe they weren't meant to have... maybe they were actually meant to have Yoko. Maybe that's the real connection. Because it feels like... this album feels like real Yoko shit.
Yeah, man.
Imagine if like they were like, hey, the Beatles... why don't you let Yoko on some of the albums? And they're like, yeah. And they're like, this sucks. Get her the fuck out of here. And he's like, well, I'm out of here too. And then they're done. This is basically letting the Yoko energy into the band. We're just like, let's just have a whole mess of shakers. You know what I mean? Let's just go.
Yeah.
Whoa.
I don't know, though. Even on Revolver, I was like, there's just moments where you're like, oh, that's such a cool sitar, and you're like, no, we don't need a fucking sitar right now.
But I will say this about Revolver, because I did start taking notes just in case. I was like, I said a way better use of strings and still identifiable as the Beatles. Do you know what I mean? Like they are able to mix the gigantic or string section and the fucking didgeridoo and the theremin.
Yeah.
Cool, you brought a theremin in. Cool. But like,
well,
they have done that a couple times. They had that with Good Vibrations and shit like that.
I will say too, yeah, that wobble.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm aiming up good vibration. I was listening to that the other night. That wobble going on when that happens, I go, dude, I was like, it's crazy a rapper hasn't sampled this. He might have, but
also the fucking they love that fucking reverse, playing their shit in reverse shit. The Beatles do. Like they have a track of like a guitar part played in reverse. That's not. This is what I'm saying. Is like people are like, they go like, oh, this is innovative, incredible. This is revolutionary, and it's like they're playing in a reverse. You just haven't done that before.
Yeah.
It's not a genius thing because it doesn't add or make anything cool. It sounds like shit.
I'll say this. Here's my thing. I get at the time when what technology was, stuff like that's going like, yo, what?
Yeah.
Because like, we've all been there. You go, you're a kid, you watch a movie, you're like, this is fucking crazy. It's got CGI.
It's like a 3D. It's like 3D.
And then you grow up, and then you realize the CGI was totally ass.
Yeah.
My problem is when people talk about these albums now, they're always like, and music never was the same. And I go, it got better.
Yeah.
Like, I get that this is like...
The Beatles put out the same album right the next
Yeah,
year.
dude, it's
what are you
like...
talking about? It was exactly the same.
It's like, dude, I get it. This started it, and you have to acknowledge that. You can't lie. You have to acknowledge that. But it's just like, yeah, how many times are we just like, yo, you want to go get a fucking burger? I'm going to rip Pet Sounds real quick. You're not.
Nobody.
You're not. The only time you're ripping Pet Sounds is when you're doing something as pretentious as the production of this album.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? It's like no one's putting on Pet Sounds just casually at a party. It's just, and dude, it kind of coincides with the popularity of Pet Sounds. I don't know if this is in your notes, but like when I was reading about it, it's like this album did fine when it came out.
Yeah.
It didn't get the modern glazing until the reissue in the 90s, which sort of kind of helps our perspective out a little bit, where it's like, yeah, you guys, because that's the thing. This is what irritates me about life in general. People like to have fun opinions because they feel they're not, because it's like you're not going to lose anything by being like, Pet Sounds is the greatest album. Ringo Starr is actually an unreal drummer. I know he's never shown it, but he actually, when the lights are off and your back's turned and your ears are plugged up, he's actually better than Neil Peart.
Wasn't there actual cases where other Beatles drummed on the album to like replace his tracks?
Yeah, there were times where they'd be back and Paul McCartney would just be like, I actually recorded everyone's parts. Yeah. And they'd be like, oh, cool. And dude, it's like, I'm a drummer. I got pretty good at playing the drums. I'm not coming out here doing any like prog rock shit, but I was very good at the drums. And every time I listen to the Beatles, I go, Ringo was there. It's never bad, but I go, he was there. And dude, they always go to this one. They're like, dude, so Ringo, he was actually left-handed, but he was on a right-handed drum.
Oh my god!
So a lot of times when right-handed people play, they go dot 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 dot. He would go do dot do dot do dot, and you're like, okay,
so that's different.
It's a little bit different. It's not, like, I don't know what Ringo has on everyone. I don't know, like, because I watched a video. It was like Chad Smith, Trey Cool, fucking Dave Grohl, all these dudes. I don't know if Ringo's got footage of them the way Mossad has footage of everybody, but like, he's fine.
Yeah, give me the Ringo list.
Drives me.
Fuck the Epstein list. Give me the Ringo list.
Show me the people who Ringo has blackmail on.
We want the Ringo list, guys. Like, honestly, we're never gonna get the Epstein list. We need the Ringo list.
We do
though.
need the Ringo list.
Because
Dave Grohl, what does Ringo have on you?
But that's the thing is, you go like, this is the most revolutionary album of all time. It's like the essential, like how it was like received, despite being hailed as a masterpiece by many, Pet Sounds initially underperformed commercially compared to the band's earlier work. Some attributed this to Capitol Records' marketing of the album as a traditional Beach Boys record rather than highlighting the innovative aspects. See, that's what I'm saying. Is this was saying like something about where is it?
You know what this is?
The fact that it was amongst the most influential albums in music history, its ambitious production, sophisticated harmonic structures, and coming-of-age themes. Initially promoted as the most progressive pop album ever. Fuck off. He just did orchestral things, and then they oohed and awed over other parts. It is not a pop album. It is maybe a progressive album. But I would not ever. This is a progressive album by somebody, written by one person from a pop thing. This is a side project album. It is an acquired taste, and it does not hold up as an album. And that's the thing that is calling this there are 3 incredible songs on here. 2 incredible songs. And then Sloop John B, which, by the way, the Me First and the Gimme Gimmes covered. Love that. Yeah. If you ever want to check that one out, that's a way better version of it. But also, they're finally writing songs that like are actually getting somewhere. Like, that's the thing is, like, in certain aspects, like, you can't start out with
Sorry. I'm gonna let you finish, but I was gonna bring up an example to explain a point, and it reminded me of an a funny thing you did back in the day, and I just started laughing. That's why I just randomly started laughing.
But I said you can't start with the best song. It sets the bar way too high and really poor thought out track order. Like, it really is, because if you're even just saying like the production side of it. Yes, like the recordings sound beautiful. The composition, but it sounds like they're like, and then the song kind of goes like, and it's just like, but you know what? Just put that out.
Yeah.
Just put out what I just did. Like, what? Why?
And a lot of the I also a lot of times when I'm listening to music, I'm conscious of like, what are you asking from the audience? And when I hear a lot of the shit on Pet Sounds, what it's asking is for you to go, Brian Wilson's so smart.
Yeah.
And I go, fuck you.
Prove it.
And, you know, so this is what prove it. Oh, you can't. He's fucking dead.
Yeah. Boom.
This is what was making me laugh. Do you remember the bar in Bethlehem? It was like a dive bar called, I forget what it was called, but we were all going to it, and then we were like, "Where's Pat?" And you were calling us. You're like, "Oh, they wouldn't let me in. I had my knife on me." That's what I was giggling about. You're like, "Yeah," and then I was like, on the way back to my car, and I was like, "I'm just gonna go home," because you couldn't possibly put your knife back in the car. You had to go. Rather than walking to his car, putting his knife in the car, and coming back to hang with his friends, he drove 2.5 hours back to Harrisburg.
Yeah, I was kind of done after that. I remember that.
But you remember that bar? It was like kind of a. Oh no, you don't. You weren't in it.
Yeah, I didn't get to go in.
No, it was like a small dive bar. It was very hipstery, so it looked scarier than it actually was. But it was
I wanted my knife.
That's why they wouldn't have your knife. In a real dive bar, they'd be like, "Good thing you have a knife."
Yeah. Hey, you want a job as security?
So in that bar, they would always have bands in there and shit. And like, I'm realizing the older I get, my barometer of what music I think is good and what I want to listen to is, if you're a band, no matter what you are, if you post up at like that kind of bar or a bar like that and you just start playing, is the crowd gonna go like, "Oh shit, these guys are fuck"? It's like, I'm sorry, man. I don't know. Maybe this is just me being a consumer or whatever the fuck, but like, I'm just over these over the top self-indulgent albums. Like, don't get me wrong, like I want artistry and I want all this stuff, but I don't know, man. I think, I hear a lot of artists will get mad. A lot of artistic and artists and artistic people, they get mad at like people I don't know, commenting on their work, and obviously in my situation, I'm biased to one side.
Yeah.
But don't get me wrong. There's so many ignorant, cunty, stupid reviewers that that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But I think the fact of life is, what art isn't anything unless you have a group of people looking at it and expressing their feelings that they get when they see that. So if your music is made without any thought of like, oh, this is going to play well live, or they're going to really start dancing, or it's going to if it's like, I just need the world to understand what's going on in my fucking head, man. You're like, well then go, I don't know, man, go do fucking...
Don't call it a pop album.
Yeah.
Don't call it a fucking pop album. Like that, you can make a side project, Brian. Like, I know that's not really a thing back in the 60s, but like, if you're recording, just call it Brian Wilson and a bunch of strangers and put it
Brian
out.
Wilson and the Wrecking Crew.
But even still, the second song just sounds like an outro for the first song, like an extended outro.
Yeah,
like
it's
they could have added.
Weird song placement too.
Terrible song
You
placement.
start with one of the best songs ever.
Like literally ever. Like that. If you say Pet Sounds has some of the most influential songs in the world, I'd go, yeah, hands down. But if you say it's one of the greatest albums of all time, I'm gonna say it was at the time. It absolutely does not hold up because the next song sounds like all intro, no song. It sounds so poorly thought out and just like terrible structure. Terrible structure.
Yeah. Can I give a glass half full take?
Please.
I started to, because I go, let me try to get in the mindset of what makes this good and better. Just try to be fair. And I kept picturing Tarantino movies, and I go, oh, all this stuff. Like, I kept thinking of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And because I go, oh, all of Pet Sounds would sound good in the background of that movie.
Yeah.
And I go, yeah, this all feels like nice movie soundtrack.
But
like as a guy who's like, yeah, I want to listen to some tunes in my car,
right,
or I want to put this on at a party. I'm like, you know what I mean? Like,
who would sit down and get like, and that's the problem with the 60s was like everybody was so fucking full of themselves. Like they were so fucking whacked out. Yeah. They literally were fucked up. Yeah. That's really all it was. Is like, I know a lot of people say that about like every generation, but I think look at somebody like Elon Musk who's like fucking doing ketamine nonstop. There's tons of people doing ketamine.
Yeah.
So like it's like I would not be surprised if something like this were to like another influential album that like I go, what are you guys fucking talking about?
Yeah.
I understand that like a lot of people say they love this album.
Yeah.
But if you try to tell me that it's one of the best thought out and it's most the composition is the greatest, it is like 3 or 4 times. As in my opinion, the Beatles had a way smoother transition from pop band to like rock and roll. Like Revolver is a nice pop rock album.
Yeah,
and it's a really well thought out. And Eleanor Rigby is on par with any of those 3 songs because of like it is so perfect.
Yeah, Revolver had definitely a bunch of songs that were like shoved straight up everyone's ass just a little too far.
Yeah.
But then I think they only had so much energy to be artsy because I actually enjoyed the second half of Revolver way better than the first half.
Yeah.
Because once it's like they got it out of their system and you're like, yeah, now just write good rock songs.
Yeah, when they had the fucking sitar shits and like, but that was the thing. Oh yeah, that I did want to I did want to mention on the second track. I said there's a sick bike horn and bike bell solo at the end there.
Yeah.
Like that's the thing where like they say he has used so many elements. Yeah, one of them was a and another one was like kicking. Like,
yeah.
It's like a but that's part of it.
But like you don't
tell me what part it is. Tell me what it means.
No, you don't understand
No,
though.
you don't get it.
You don't
It's
get
the
it. Like
theme.
you don't normally hear that in songs.
But he did it.
But like, yeah, and he ignored the fact that it was like
that
kind
his
of
entire
fucking,
band hated it.
He ignored the fact that people have justifiably never used bike horns in songs, and he had the courage to go
Yeah,
It's like, what do you? No, there's a reason no one uses bike horns.
Yeah, because
No,
it's
dude,
stupid.
This fucking thing. This is what irritates me because I got reminded of this. Like, this is why also too. Whatever you feel about the Beatles, they deserve their flowers and all the corn. Because like before they were even, they were like fucking Johnny and the fucking goofballs or whatever the fuck they were before the Beatles. They were like in Germany playing at these like clubs for hours every night. Yeah. Like the Beatles spent years getting really fucking good at their instruments. So now that they're famous, you know what they're gonna do? I'm gonna test out my sitar skills. Like, no, it's when Kanye started singing and all the things. You're like, just do the thing you're really fucking good at.
Yeah. And even their pop shit had this like darkness to it. Even
like,
some of the things like Help and stuff like that have like really dark themes to them and everything.
Yeah,
early on. So
8 days a week, brother. There's only 7.
What are they? Scared a burp out of me. Where did the extra day go?
He's schizophrenic. There's only 7. What the
so
fuck?
mental illness is not just Beach Boys.
Oh my God.
Beatles did it first. These songs are so slow and boring, it doesn't even sound like the music matched the lyrics. The drummer is just tapping the cymbals and an entire string section. That's it.
Also,
that's the song, number 4. I'm not even naming the tracks. I don't give a fuck anymore.
Can I say this?
I hate these assholes.
This just popped into my head. Can I just say this?
What up?
If it's not on vinyl, stop releasing it in mono.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. Yeah, that was weird that that's not even an option.
Why? Like, who in their headphones would ever want mono?
Brother.
I get, dude, if I'm in a big room and I got the volume up, mono doesn't matter. It probably sounds better. But, like, if I'm in my car or I'm, like, listening with headphones, like, there should be no mono on Spotify.
Yeah.
Well, I guess you can play it through speakers, but
Can
we please just have stereo mixes of everything?
I just feel like there's a I think it's called Let's Go Away for a While. I think that's the name of this one, number 6. But I just put, like, literally, like I said, the note I have here is cool, an instrumental song with mostly instruments that aren't featured in the band. So you'll never hear it live. It's not even, by the way, and then reading afterwards, it's not even the band. So, like, even Brian Wilson didn't fucking do anything. So I don't know if he's playing bike horn. I don't know. Like, I don't.
I'm sure he hit the bike horn once or twice.
Yeah. So another good one. Oh yeah. By the way, number 8. That's probably Let's Sloop John B. Oh yeah. God Only Knows. I really do love that song. I do think, and they really do utilize the horns.
This is what I was looking up.
Strength. What?
When you were saying the songs that were really good.
Oh yeah.
I was like, which song starts the B side? And it's God Only Knows.
Yeah,
that's why that
did the same
song's
thing.
so
Yeah,
good.
you're front loading it.
Yeah, and because Sloop John B is pretty good.
It's a pretty good one.
It is front loaded a bunch of bullshit.
A bunch of bullshit. I mean, dude, nothing but bullshit. Like it's if this was a cereal, it'd be oops all bullshit.
It's like if someone made you a sandwich and you're like, "Oh, that's beautiful focaccia bread,"
and you go,
and you
"Oh, it's bullshit,"
and it's all bullshit.
It's all bullshit. You put all bullshit in here. You ruin the bread. I can't even eat the bread now. Like that, it's a thing where, like, to me, the amount of admiration this album gets, even from other people like the Beatles, who are like, why were you so nervous? Why were you so nervous about? Apparently Pet Sounds came out and the Beatles were like, we gotta pep up our shit. And it's like, we gotta start doing a bunch of acid and sit in cat litter all day.
They're like, holy
fuck off, you idiot.
They're like, holy shit, we gotta stop writing songs.
Yeah. Oh my God, why are we playing our instruments? These idiots are hiring other people to come in and do it, and then they just come in and go.
It's like, I know what we should do, Paul. Let's write background music for Final Fantasy games.
This is all like, it's not even Quest. It's like, again, it's like first take Quest music. You know what I mean? Like, or DVD screen. Like, I know it's the 60s, and like, again,
these albums sound like movie soundtracks.
This is what I'm saying is like is essentially for this time.
Yeah.
Yes, nobody had done it before, but do you know why? Open your focaccia bread.
Because it's bullshit.
Because it's fucking bullshit. It's a thing where you're not even. How dare you call this the Beach Boys Pet Sounds? How dare you call it that? because the Beach Boys are a pretty solid band. I will say this: them, not bad, not the worst, not the best.
There's
not my
definitely
they're a good second or third from the Beatles.
they're
Maybe
hard.
second.
Well, Beach Boys. You know, when we're talking like Surfing USA, Beach Boys and shit like that, they're hard to criticize too much because you're like, yeah, they're a product of their time and they did that thing at the highest quality of that thing.
Yeah,
I'm not fucking bumping Beach Boys, but you listen to it and you're like, yeah, for the 40s and 50s, this sounds like it probably fucking ripped.
It is something new. It is something different. But like if you're a Beach Boys fan, and that's the thing. It has that fucking the thing you were talking about. It's essentially that's the thing I wanted to say back then was it's like the Emperor's New Clothes kind of bullshit.
New clothes, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's this thing where like where one fucking pretentious piece of shit. I was gonna say it again. one piece of shit out there is gonna just go like, like, oh my god, this is incredible.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything like it, and then do this, go. Right? I've never heard anything like it. Right? This is,
dude. That's why.
And then they go, yeah, I think it sounds good. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I've never heard anything like it, and it sounds so good.
Have
that's
you
what
ever heard the term midwit?
No.
That's why.
Does that mean I am one?
No. Well, you are in certain aspects, not in music, but you are also self-aware. It's like I was telling you, like people will be like, "How do people like this kind of shit?" And then you're like, "Oh, that's right. You're really." Most people are very knowledgeable in about like 3 to 4 things, if that. And then most of their other interests, they're kind of like they have like really mid taste in it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that's why I love an over the top artsy movie, but I'm happier than a pig in shit watching some fucking what's retarded movies.
Pacific Rim.
Fast and Furious,
Pacific Rim.
Pacific Rim, any of those.
Specifically, Rim.
I could watch any of those movies and feel just as good as if I watched the fucking Brutalist that I just watched. You know what I mean? I don't discriminate.
Yeah. I like
when
fingers
it comes to,
and I like fun.
When it comes to music, because I know a lot about music,
yeah.
I am a pretentious cunt. That's why did we talk about it with Mike Eaton? That's why he was trying to be like, no, Chevelle fucking rips.
Oh, yeah,
and I just
brother.
like, Mike, I can't.
Stop.
Dude, it's funny, dude. I'm super like open-minded on a lot of shit where I go, tell me your perspective. I'm so curious. Yeah. When it comes to music, I will make you feel small.
When you try to say that you're trying to like go, no, you don't understand. Like, no, I've gone over it. And like I said, I avoided this album. I feel like I just know like somehow because also what was the other thing? Oh, Final Destination.
Oh,
remember?
Wait, I forgot to finish my midwit point.
Sorry, my point.
No, you're fine. We're zooting, dude. It's the fucking early record. We're doing the caffeine's flowing. Yeah. No, that was the thing. I think what happens is like there's this group of people that are not overly intelligent. They're intelligent to they're intelligent enough to like memorize things and understand slightly complex concepts and stuff, but they're not smart enough to understand that there's a wide range of people out there that are like way smarter than them. So, which is why I think dudes like you and me are like better because we're both moderately intelligent, but at the same time we're very aware of how many more people are way smarter than us and shit. Yeah. But the midwit takes in something like Pet Sounds and they won't hear anything else because there's something about it that makes them feel better than everyone else.
Yeah.
Because, like, the midwit type person is just good at conforming to stuff, and they're not actually that fucking smart, so they lock on to things that are unnecessarily complex that make them feel smarter. So things like Pet Sounds gets, like, momentum like a goddamn snowball. And once again, we're not saying, like, it doesn't get its praise and acknowledgement, but let's not act like it's still the fucking peak of musical output.
It even for its time, that's the point. Like that, I guess that's the point I'm trying to say. Is like,
gotcha. Yeah.
Is like where you can have this situation, but like you can have a situation where you are putting out something, and you can put out something that's brand new, that is ahead of its time.
Yeah.
But at the time, people were like, this is pretty good. You know, like once like everybody like, and it's for everybody that fucking got it, man.
Yeah.
And it's like this thing of like, get what? It sounds like shit. It doesn't sound like a Beach Boys album.
No.
It doesn't sound like If I knew what this, that's what I'm saying is, if I know what it is, I can avoid it. Like Final Destination, right?
Yeah.
So,
Okay. Yeah.
So this is my point. Is I went from seeing 0 Final Destinations to seeing all of them, and I was right to avoid them. I hated every single fucking minute of every single fucking movie.
Wait, you can sit through that much shit
I was
and
texting
hate
a
it?
lot. I was texting a lot.
Because
or wagging or.
If I'm not enjoying something, like it hurts me to like keep.
Oh, I hated it. No, I hated it. It's a thing where I'm just like, it's exactly what I thought it was.
Why'd you hate them?
Because it's my least favorite thing with. So like, I know I said Pacific Rim earlier, but Pacific Rim is under the category, I feel like, of a kaiju movie, like a Godzilla or something else. It's more sci-fi or something like that. It's super silly. I take it for exactly what it is, and I love those movies. Unironically, it's unironic.
No, I fucked with them too.
I will never. It's the same thing I feel about like NoFX or a lot of my favorite things. I'm never gonna tell you it's the best thing in the world. It's one of my favorite things in the world.
It's actually a lot of both our favorite things. We're like, I get why people think this is fucking stupid.
But something like Fast and the Furious or what's the other one? Final Destination's a good one. Any of these.
Anything with Jason Statham in a car.
Any bald guy in a car is essentially just a thing where like. It's a thing. It's going to be a terrible story with a bunch of action scenes, and I don't like that. I don't like action movies. But I love monster movies. I like a monster movie.
Yeah.
So like that's the kind of thing of like in Final Destination, I'm sitting here going like, I was right to avoid.
Do you
this.
like kung fu movies?
Not as much.
You don't like
because it's so It's when they're flying through the trees and they're jumping all over the place with sorcery.
Or like, have you ever watched The Raid?
No, I've heard about The Raid a lot.
Because there's a lot of like me and my dad used to watch these all the time. I think it's why I love them so much. But like one of my favorite movies to watch with him would be like action movie with very little plot and super long fight scenes.
I think I like that. I don't mind that. I'm not drawn to it. Like, it's like a thing where like I love a movie where fighting is the theme, something like Lionheart starring Jean-Claude Van Damme or Bloodsport starring Jean-Claude Van Damme.
You also a big fan of splits?
I love splits.
Yeah.
I love mullets too. So we're bringing in Time Cop. But like something but like there's a situation with like just a thing where I'm not like it's not an ironic thing of like, oh, it's so bad, it's good. I don't like those things. If I don't like it, I don't want to watch it. So if it's just a just out of nowhere, just going to be action, and then it's just going to be like, we've got to get to the car before the White House explodes. And it's just like, shut the fuck up. I don't love that. But if it's like aliens are attacking the Earth, and now I'm listening.
Yeah.
So like I love when there is like that attempt, but it's like,
but you like
it's not that I don't get it. I don't like it.
but you do like amateur pornography. So
I love
story isn't necessarily a deal breaker.
No.
It's the medium.
Yeah, it's the medium. Exactly. But I don't love like, let's say I don't like amateur gay porn. Right?
Yeah.
I don't like amateur gay movies. And I don't like fucking gay albums like this. This sucked. It was it was a real struggle. It actually made me prefer the Beatles, and it was actually kind of nice.
You know what's funny about what you just said? Today's opposite day.
Oh no.
Pat George, gay porn lover. Gotcha. My one last complaint. I don't know how much if you have anything that's you in gay space. I'm stuck in gay purgatory. It was funny how you came back in. You like drifted out.
Yeah. That's called space work, guys. It's called. Hey, Andy. That's called space work.
Space work.
And it's also when you pretend. What were we gonna say?
What's space work in a non-comedic form?
What are you doing? Oh, like because I was in space.
I don't know if there was enough there to constitute a joke.
But then it's also miming like I have a penis, right? You get it?
Yeah.
Can you still hear me? Is this thing on?
Patty, you're deep in space, dude.
I'm the only one with headphones.
My last thing I wanted to throw out before we throw up because of gay stuff. No, I gotta be honest. If I don't hear another doo-wop song for the rest of my life, it'll be too soon. Hey, I'm happy that they happy. I'm happy that they.
I'm happy they happy.
I'm happy they happy. No,
I'm happy they happy.
I'm happy they had fun with it back in the day. Doo-wop.
Surfing USA, great.
Dude,
Wonderful.
it's like the hair metal of the time.
Good vibration.
You did it,
sure.
And then we realized it was fucking stupid. Now, and I'm
Vince
not,
Neil.
I'm not like, dude. Don't get me wrong. I'll occasionally get on board with a really well constructed barbershop quartet, like the Billy Joel song "For the Longest."
Yeah.
That song rips.
I like doo-wop Billy Joel.
But
he was the last one.
There's still doo-wop, yeah. But no, just the and like the whole
Just play the bass line. Play.
It's just funny, like
play the bass line. Just play the bass line.
I want to see the first meeting of doo-wop where some guy was like, all right, so I'm gonna sing the lead. You guys will do the backup harmonies.
What should I do? Just hum the whole time.
Is there anything you need me to do, boss?
Hey, can I sing lead instead?
No. We can't.
And then he's like, oh, I forgot about you, Big Jim.
You know, and then he went like this. He went.
You're like, oh shit.
Wait, keep doing that, Jim.
Wait.
I'm crying. What are you talking about?
Jim, keep crying.
Which is a covered doo-wop.
It's just
like
like
a sad baritone.
I just feel like they were all sitting there. They're like, oh my god. Can you hear this? This is fucking retarded.
You hear this? It sounds terrible.
It sounds super stupid.
Billy Joel, you should do this in 40 years.
Like, yeah. Roger Joel? It's your cousin, Roger Joel.
You know that pussy you're about to come in? Play this for it.
You know that gimmicky song you're about to write?
Brother, it was like, it is, I don't need it.
It's
I don't
so
want it.
stupid.
It's like, and
because it didn't occur to me until I'm listening to, again, the fucking
Revolver?
No.
Pet Sounds?
The first song on Pet Sounds. I keep forgetting it.
Oh,
Wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't it be nice?
And he's like singing normal.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, just do that. Why do you guys have to do the fucking weird Beach Boys voices the whole time?
This is a nice, this is a sweet, intrusive thought. Every time I hear that song, I think of 51st Dates. When you know the one that Adam Sandler and Drew Barrymore, and like he's like in love with her the whole time, all this stuff, and then like the dad's like, well, you know, and then he decides, spoiler alert, on the 51st date, he goes, peace, and he goes, he's gonna go on his sailing trip, and the dad's like, all right, well, we'll stop telling her about it, and he's like, here, I made you this CD and some other stuff, like a care package for your trip. You know, you've been great. It's a real heartfelt thing. And he's like, cool, thanks. he puts on the album, and he's like, it just cuts to him going, why did it be? He's just crying. Yeah. Like sailing, he's like, why would you do this? It's like all these songs that remind him of her and stuff like that. And, and it's just like this. He's like crying his eyes out, just sailing, just going like, "What?" And then like he realizes it's a sweet part. I don't know why, but that song always reminds me of that part of him, just bawling his eyes out.
Yeah,
great movie.
Weird. I feel like you just let that girl do her thing. It's so funny to be like, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna show you this DVD," and every single time she's just gonna be like, "Oh, I guess I love this guy."
Hey, you're pregnant. Watch this DVD. Like. I'm gonna kill myself.
Okay, so I know it's I feel like it's technically rape until she watches the DVD.
Right? Isn't that yeah? You know what I'm saying? Like every morning she wakes up a victim and then ends the day as a family man.
Well, no, because like the implication of like every time, because she's not gonna like.
Also, what happens if she's like goes to sleep and then like gets woken up by the baby in the middle of the night?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you
she's
do
also
then?
too. She's not gonna have the personal experience. She's just gonna have to like take his word for it, and then it's like, all right, well, I'm on the boat. I guess I'm gonna fuck this guy.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, this could very easily be a human trafficking story. Like,
But you just have to hope every time she watches the video, she just goes,
oh,
he seems kind of cool.
oh, cool.
I guess I'll suck off this guy I've never met. Because it's like, you still have not met him. You've just watched a video where you go, oh, I guess I like this guy.
Also, like, what's the energy that you go up there with? Like, it's like some days she's gonna come up and go like, I'm still not sure, and then other days she's gonna come up and be like, it's so romantic, I want to fuck you right now, let's have sex, and he's just like, I'm working. Why'd you have to sleep in?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really sweet story until you really think about like the fact that like he's kind of, yeah, it's lovely, it's great, it's beautiful. They do frame it in a really sweet way, and I'm super psyched for Happy Gilmore too.
I'm a big
I cannot wait.
I'm a big Sandler head.
I think that
I think I've tried to start the movement. Sandler never misses. Sandler don't miss.
I also have,
Dude, even when he misses, you're like, that was a cool pitch though.
the video game one. I didn't love that movie, but it's still.
Which one was the video game one?
It's where the video games come to Earth and they basically are taking over.
Well, I don't know if
Gigabytes
you were
or
on. I don't know if you
digits?
were on the pod yet, but it was basically watching. Watch That's My Boy.
Yeah,
And I go, if That's My Boy's good, it's crazy that these
that
other
was Al Pacino, right?
No.
Or no, that's Jack and Jill.
No, you're Jack and Jill. Yeah,
I think so. Yeah.
No, That's My Boy is with Andy Samberg.
Yes, and Andy Sandberg is a lovely person. I love that guy. He's hilarious. But I will say, my Adam Sandler challenge for everybody is every single time you go into a hotel, turn on the TV, flip through the channels, and I guarantee you will find an Adam Sandler movie on TV. I guarantee it. Every single time I go to a hotel, that's the first thing I do is set my bag down. I check for bed bugs. Then I pick my bag back up. I put it on the table. and then I flip through the TV, sitting on the same bed I just found the bed bugs on. And I go, there it is. Big Daddy on USA. So he goes, I can wipe my own butt. I can wipe my own butt. He doesn't say butt. He says ass.
I was
Like
watching.
little kids should be able to curse on TV.
I was at a bar one time in Jersey. It was after Pet Shop, and we went to that one bar, Lucky's, that they always would go to because it was this random bar in Jersey City, and they would have like.
Wouldn't let you bring a knife either.
No, probably not to this place. No, it was this random dive bar in the middle of Jersey City that would have like $5 drinking a shot deals and crazy shit like that at all times.
Yeah.
I go, what the fuck is this place? It's like, it felt like a random bar in the middle of a central PA town that I grew up in. But no, I remember being there, and there's depending on how the night's going, there's a point where I get to like a level of drunk where I just go like, I'm over this place, and I become like distant, and I was like, I don't really talk. I kind of stopped talking, and I look up, and it's usually that hour I spend realizing I go, it'd be really dangerous if I drove right now, and so I'm just kind of like, I'm hanging out, ready to leave, but I understand it'd be super dangerous if I drove home.
I don't know if I've ever actually admitted that to myself ever. I just go like, I never like think I'm way too fucked up to drive right now, but I always just go like, maybe I shouldn't drive right now just to be safe. But I never think like, no, Pat, you cannot drive right now. I feel like if I'm at that
'cause
point,
I've
I'm not
had-
even thinking about it.
I have a good barometer because there was one time when I was younger where I did drive. It's a weird because there's been times where I'll drive and I'll be like, "You're rolling the dice, Andy, but you got this. You got this."
Yeah.
But I remember there was one time when I first started doing comedy, and I was like, it was one of the few times I've been driving going like, it's crazy you're doing this right now.
Yeah.
Like I was like, getting home is hard and shit like that. And I was just like, well, that wasn't fun. Let's not do that ever again. But no, and I was like, but I was also just like, yeah, I'm at the bar and I'm like, I can't leave yet. It would be very unsafe. And so I'm just standing there and Big Daddy's on TV. And there's no sound. I'm just reading the subtitles. And after a while, I go, this movie's beautiful.
It really is.
I was like, this is a beautiful movie.
It's a lovely story about like somebody, like a kid finding multiple loving homes, essentially.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful story.
Hell yeah. I don't know if we had any ideas for next week.
You mentioned a band earlier that caught my ear, and I don't know how you want to do it, but I was thinking Metallica.
That'd be cool.
and I was thinking we could do good Metallica versus bad Metallica.
Oh yeah, we could do like their best album versus Saint Anger.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like
Saint Anger's fun because I remember back in the day being like, because I remember I was new to heavy music, and I heard Saint Anger, and I thought like the bones of it were fun, and then when I went back to it, I go, it's actually fucking crazy that this drum, like people think like they overdo it on making fun of the snare drum on that album.
Yeah.
But like the snare tone on that album is fucking insane.
it's incredible. It's the best thing I've ever heard in my life.
It's weird that it got there.
Okay, so yeah, that is officially their most successful album and their least successful album. The Black Album versus Saint Anger.
You want to do Black Album?
We can. Why don't we, I think we can just do both on this one too. You want to try that again? Did you like it this way?
Yeah.
I never ended up showing the Beatles cover art, but that's also because they don't need any more pub. The Beach Boys. Oh, fun fact about that album cover that the people that didn't play on the album at all are on.
Yeah.
There's that was at the San Diego Zoo. Pet Sounds. That was at the petting station.
Oh, that picture?
Hmm?
Yeah.
It had to have been the most awkward shoot I've ever seen him. Like, it has to have been, right? Like, the fact that they're like, all right, guys, let's go do some promo shots for the album. Like, oh, yeah, the album. Oh, yeah, I forgot. We're putting an album out. I didn't realize because we didn't fucking record one. That's great.
No, I think Black Album will be, it will be good to go back pre-Black Album just because I know there was a huge there was sort of a rift in the fan base when Black Album came out.
We could do before and after Saint Anger. Pre and post Saint Anger.
No. I think
Okay.
I think Black Album's good.
All right.
I think Black Album's good. I just know I know before I know there was like a lot of people that were mixed on I think the Black Album, and we'll learn about this more, but I think the Black Album took time for people to really start to like love.
That's crazy.
Because it was a shift from they were going a little bit more mainstream, I think, trying to like not just be a thrash band the whole time or whatever the fuck you would consider them. And a lot of fans thought they were going like, you guys are going fucking soft or whatever.
Well, I think it was Reload, or was it Garage Inc. or something like that. There was one that, like, right before they put it out. What's the one that they did the Lethal Weapon song?
I don't know.
I love this one.
Give me back, give me.
Yeah, that's a good one, but that is like some
think-
that is like some Monday Night Football music.
I think it's this one, Garage Inc. I think is the one 98. Like right before that, they cut their hair
Oh, really?
and like everybody.
Oh,
was
yeah,
like,
their hair.
What are you doing? You're fucking purges now. And it's like, shut up, you dorks. It's so funny to go like you cut your hair and now you're lame. Like if they were lame, they would have been lame with short hair.
Yeah, no, that is fans really do hate when a band
Changes.
evolves, and I get it. I have there's been a couple bands where I was like, why couldn't you just write that first album over and over again?
Yeah.
Damn, they do have like a strong, dude, leading up to
Yeah,
the
Ride
Black
the Lightning,
Album.
Master of Puppets. Yeah, like they're like it's
Because
not,
like I don't listen to Metallica a lot, but I know all these albums are held up as like amazing albums of like Kill 'Em All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All, Black Album. That's like a nuts run.
and something about that too is like the fact that they have so many great like songs before that, their performances and shit like that, and like the fact that they still have like sprinkled in some hits, but even the B-side shit still holds up and still is good. And that's something that is like the Beatles are very good, but they are very prolific as well. Also, theirs was like 14 tracks in like 32 minutes was Revolver. Each one of them has like the capability of writing great songs, but like Metallica, that run, if you're a metal fan especially, the Black Album being so commercially successful makes it crazy. And then to put out something so publicly like Saint Anger, where you're like, this, like it to me, it's just kind of like, as a band, unless contractually you had to release something, yeah, what happened?
Well, I think there's,
And I think Some Kind of Monster came out after, or is that them recording Some Kind of Monster?
that was during.
Wasn't
That was also a big thing too.
They're obviously very distracted.
Yeah, well, also too, I think I think bands are really bad at like throwing in the towel on new music.
Yeah.
Because it is like there's some bands like, dude, we're big every time I die, guys.
Yeah.
They somehow put out. We obviously have our preferred albums, but they put out strong albums 9 times in a row for the most part.
Yeah.
And it's like most bands.
Norma Jean for a good clip there too.
Yeah.
Norma Jean like started out great and then just got even better. They had a couple like different things, but changed, but always remained like great, like really good.
And I think the thing like I think when it's like you get to that level of success.
Yeah.
Because I think the bands we're talking about,
Or even output. Maybe like, do you think it's success or do you think it's just being prolific?
I think it's more about success. Because I think once you have a run of
Master of
Kill 'Em
Puppets.
All, Ride the Lightning, Master of Puppets, and Justice for All in the Black Album.
Yeah.
Once you have a strong 5-album run like that, or however, you don't have anything else to prove, really.
Yeah.
But then you're still a music. I think it's
You're still in like your 30s. You're like, I can't retire.
I think a weird thing happens with artists when they don't have anything to prove, and that's been their whole life.
Yeah.
It's like just proving themselves. So now I think artists will do this thing where they'll be like, I'm going to prove I still got it. And a lot of times they don't.
Especially if you're Lars Ulrich.
He would arguably...
They're in my timeline a bunch. That's I think another reason why I was kind of drawn to it when you mentioned it. Because like their reels and stuff are in there, like of him, of like James Hetfield being so nice about his drumming and just like he's like, it just doesn't make any sense. I think it's actually a clip from them recording Saint Anger, but it's like him trying a riff and like trying to like jam it with them and stuff like that.
And he tries to hop in on it. I've seen that one.
And it's just like, what are you doing?
He
Like,
has to no, because I've seen
He tries so hard. James Hetfield is like,
Yeah.
okay, buddy. He's like, all right, I'll try it again. He's like, what are you doing?
Well, I've seen so many clips of Lars Ulrich messing up where I'm like, he has to have something going on in his head.
Yeah.
Where his brain just shuts off every so often, because it's like, dude, how are you a professional drummer for fucking 50 years coming up?
I think it's 50 years.
You are a professional metal drummer coming up on 50 years.
Yeah.
How are you still fucking up like this?
And they're not. And they're like, with all due respect to Metallica, there are some rippers. They do rip. They rip. But there's a lot of like fucking boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, ka, boom, 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 ka. Like
no, he
can still fuck those up, the fills and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
they
You know,
definitely
like,
have-
and it's just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, they deserve credit. They have some songs where you go, the fuck they just do, but they have some songs where he's playing a AC/DC drum part.
Yeah, but like on the album, it's because they actually have that. But I remember even early on there being like these videos of them live playing overseas and shit, where they're like having drum offs, like him and James, like it was just like, your guitar player's a better drummer than you. You know what I mean? Like, it's so funny that is like, that's also the Foo Fighters, I think. You know what I mean?
There's a great video too of Lars Ulrich back in the day. I forget if I talked to you about this, but like, I think about it sometimes when you watch old ass comedy specials and you're like, man, comedy was so easy back in the day. But like, also too, if you
watch Kill Tony nowadays, I mean, Jesus Christ.
But
brother, you just have to have a character. You don't have to have jokes or anything. Just have a character. It's crazy.
That's the audience. The audience sees a character, and the way that they like galvanize around them, you're like,
he talks funny.
But no, I remember watching old Metallica, and like the standard for drum. Well, I guess the drum solo standards were high, but not for Lars Ulrich, because also he's including double bass, which double bass in metal is a new thing. So the whole solo, the double bass is just, and he's going like, duh. But the fact that the double bass is going on, you're like,
yeah. And again, still, it's very impressive. I don't think I could do that. So I'm saying he's a better drummer than I am, but he is not a good drummer. So next week we're going to be doing Metallica against Metallica. because honestly, we need a little bit of metal back in our lives. We'll do one bad one. We'll do one good one.
Dude,
And I probably will listen to the entire.
I gotta be honest. I don't know how much energy I have for like an artsy album. It's exhausting.
Yeah, I
it's
can't
just
do
like, dude, it's just like I said it before, but it's like if I turn this album on and you're like, I'm about to take you on a trip through my mind, you're like, I'm good. I don't want to go on that.
I'm not gonna. Yeah, and if somebody's like to me going like, oh, you should listen to Pet Sounds, I'm not going to think to suggest my most influential album of like, or like my most prolific or what I think is the greatest album of like Colors or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that I would say like, oh, well, if you think that's progressive, you just
Well, it's like,
and then they're gonna go like, this is just noise. It's like, well, what the fuck did you just give me?
well, and it's also a thing too of like, can you guys put your fucking elbow into it?
Yeah.
Like, stop giving me like. Anyway, we could bitch about Pet Sounds forever. Thank you for
more
watching.
like whale sounds.
Yeah, more like fucking dog shit.
That's actually what you've been
more
listening
like-
to this whole time. Is
more
whale
like-
sounds.
more like pet shit sounds. I love you.